Making a Difference. Brought to you by Vesicare.
As you know, we have been looking to you to let us know about some of the good news around the country while we all struggle through this recession. Well, a viewer got our attention with word about this next story. One town's efforts to provide something special for nothing. It is a movie theater leading the way and making a difference. Here's Ron Mott.
You get 2 adults.
Thank you, ma'am.
Outside Charlotte,
This is wonderful.
the race is on. Popcorn's hot, drinks ice cold, and lights mean action. It's showtime at the gym. #1 film at the box office now playing. But that's not why the house is full, 900 strong. This is
1 adult and 2 kids?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. It's free tonight.
How many adults, how many children?
2 adults and 1 child.
Thank you. It's free tonight.
free admission.
Hey, thank y'all for doing this.
You're welcome. Glad you enjoyed it.
What owner Steve Morris calls his recession buster, a way to keep the tough going in these tough times.
We're busting that recession image that's out there, by doing something fun and taking people's mind off of it.
It's an offer too good to pass up.
Things have been hard for everybody, and so to enjoy a night out for free, had to take advantage of it.
It's pretty big savings, so it's something fun for them to do and still save money and stay on a budget.
6 years ago, thousands of jobs were lost when the local textile mill closed. 10% of the population was out of work. But Kannapolis is no stranger to recovery. This theater first started thrilling audiences on the cheap during another rough economic patch in American history. 1936, the height of the Great Depression, and it's been one of the best bargains in town ever since. Greg Farr, who runs the ice cream shop around the corner, scoops up a good deal too.
It helps us maintain a way of life. I mean, that's critical to our survival.
Surviving together, Morris says, makes it even better.
It's been positive for us all the way around. Hopefully we've made some new friends.
New friends helping an old place thrive again, all thanks to a gem of an idea. Ron Mott, NBC News, Kannapolis, North Carolina.
That's Nightly News.
Making a Difference. Brought to you by Beano.
In our continuing search for good news, tonight our Making a Difference report shines the light on an organization helping make children's wishes come true. Every child counts down to his or her birthday every year. But for families who have fallen on hard times, birthdays can be just like any other day. No party, no celebration. But now some very caring folks in Massachusetts are trying to change that. NBC's Rahima Ellis has their story.
It's a birthday party with all the trimmings of a typical celebration, except it's not. These 4 kids and their friends are all homeless and living in a Boston shelter. The party's run by a nonprofit organization that helps families struggling through hard times remember their child's special day.
It was something that there was a need for, a great need for.
Lisa Vasiloff and 3 other friends came up with a program called Birthday Wishes. They wanted to find a way for their own kids to give back to the community.
At the time, one of my friends was volunteering at a homeless shelter, and she learned of a child who had a birthday pass completely with no celebration, no cake, no gift or anything.
In 2002, the program began with 12 kids in one shelter. Last year, there were parties for more than 1,000 homeless children in 65 shelters in Massachusetts. Using private funds and corporate grants, the Birthday Wishes organization donates almost everything for the parties, from balloons to presents and goodie bags. Once a month, volunteers turn into party coordinators for the shelters, bringing in all kinds of fun. Activities parents say they can't afford.
It's really hard to give her that big special day that kids love.
It's like a cloud that has been lifted with the children, like rainbows coming in because of the fact that someone actually does care.
We give each other hugs and we're really happy to see each other, so it's more of like a friendship now than a community service project.
Throwing parties for homeless children and making birthday wishes come true. Rahima Ellis, NBC News, Boston.
Now to one woman's inspiring story of triumph over adversity. You may have seen Rebecca Alexander on the Today Show. We met her earlier this week, but it feels like we've known her much longer. Her brother is our correspondent, Peter Alexander, and tonight he shares a story very close to his heart as doctors search for a way to stop a rare and cruel condition that's slowly robbing Rebecca of both sight and sound.
Pick up your speed. Here we go.
This is my sister Rebecca. I call her Becky. She just turned 30, and as you can see, she has more energy than anyone in the room.
Yeah! Come on!
She teaches 15 spin classes a week, practices yoga, and works as a psychotherapist.
That's me. That's Kenny.
Becky's also my best friend, the backbone of our family.
Very pretty girl.
If you met her, you'd have no idea my sister has a disability.
The doctor told me that by 30 I would be blind. That was when I was 12. So in some ways you could say that I'm sort of on borrowed time.
Becky has Usher syndrome type 3, a rare genetic disorder that'll likely leave her completely blind and deaf within the next decade. And so far, there's no treatment or cure. Becky first started noticing problems when she was in elementary school.
I remember when we were on vacation once, and there was a huge tree, and there was a tree trunk, and I ran my head right into it really hard, and I had this huge gash, and I was crying, and I came to you, and it wasn't even the pain of it, it was just the shock. I think it was fear.
You just didn't see it?
I didn't see it. It just wasn't there.
Throughout high school and college, her vision and hearing continued to deteriorate. Today, she's lost most of her peripheral and night vision. Walking down a New York City street, this is what Becky sees. And that field of vision is getting progressively smaller.
It feels like the background noise is a little softer.
Without the powerful hearing aids she depends on, her world is silent. Researchers are actively at work to find a cure.
Our scientists are trying to find a drug that can halt or slow the progress of this disease so that the vision that people like Becky have now, that they can keep that vision longer and keep their hearing longer.
Becky hasn't let her disability define her. She's been skydiving and bungee jumping, and recently took a hiking trip to Peru with our mom.
If it were up to me, I wish I had 6 arms and 8 legs so that I could just be doing so many things. I have so much I want to do, and I don't know how much time I have left.
That's what I admire most about my sister, her courage, her ability to live in each moment, despite the challenges that lie ahead. Peter Alexander, NBC News, New York.
You can learn more about Usher syndrome type 3 and read a blog from Peter and Rebecca on our website, nightly.msnbc.com.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Vesicare.
Our request for good news stories still stands. A while back, we asked you to email us with the stories of the people who are performing acts of kindness for strangers in this bad economy. We received several emails from Jonesboro, Arkansas, like this one from a Nightly News viewer named Bridget. She writes, we are so fortunate to have an incredibly generous orthodontist here in Arkansas. Benjamin Burris has started a foundation called Smile for a Lifetime. He's doing braces for children that are in need and cannot afford it. The cost to them is zero. Ben does all the work for free. He's been working hard to get the foundation to go national, and last week it did. Now there will be many orthodontists doing this in their hometowns, too. Not only is he an incredibly generous man and professional, but I am so proud to say that he is my husband, too. He is taking these tough times and making them so much easier for many families. Well, our thanks to Bridget. It's in that spirit, making tough times easier for people, that we present tonight's Making a Difference report. It's about the heroic Americans who have volunteered for military service and who've come home wounded. We asked our NBC News military analyst, Jack Jacobs, a recipient of the Medal of Honor, to tell the story of the people making a difference in their lives.
I start every day just thankful to be alive.
Master Sergeant Thomas Morrissey was on patrol in southeast Afghanistan.
I took 8 direct hits from an AK-47.
Doctors managed to save Morrissey's life and his limbs and then sent him here to the active duty rehab unit at the VA Medical Center in Augusta, Georgia, the only rehab facility in the country that combines the medical resources of the Departments of Defense and Veterans Affairs.
This unit made a distinct difference in my life because it helped me recover my functionality, which is something at the time I never thought I might have again.
They're going to fit you for a prosthetic and all.
They did. They've already fit me for the prosthetics.
When do you get it?
Next week.
Corporal Joshua McCart's hand was mangled in an IED blast in Iraq. Here, he gets more specialized physical therapy and says that the collaboration between military agencies allows him to focus on getting better rehabilitation rather than having to deal with the bureaucracy.
When you don't have to worry about doing paperwork and getting one group to justify doing something for the other, when you don't have to focus on that stuff, you can focus just on the healing, just on getting better and going home.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. All the way. The facility is making an impact on the community as well.
It's the closest thing to a fist I think I've ever made.
The only VA active duty rehab in the country.
Lori Ott quit her job as a local television anchor after she did a story on the rehab unit. She now dedicates her life to being an advocate for wounded warriors and their families.
It's significant because people's limbs are being saved here. People are being restored to wholeness. People are having the best outcomes possible.
When kayaks were needed to allow the injured to have fun and rehab at the same time, Lori got them donated.
I do this work because I think our wounded warriors deserve excellence in return for their service.
But the unit's focus is on more than just the physical needs of the soldier.
There has to be a sense when those people come back that they're being nurtured, they're being supported, that they're being cared for, that those people matter.
Brian is a product of the military healthcare system myself. I say that this should be a model for military rehab centers across the country.
And now you are on record. Jack, good to have you as always. Jack Jacobs, Medal of Honor recipient, nightly news correspondent. One of those titles is handed out by the president. We continue to look for positive news in this bad economy. Send your stories to our website. We enjoy getting this email from Pat in Washington State. She writes, my brother-in-law is the YMCA director in Eugene, Oregon. He and his board decided to offer free 3-month memberships to anyone who's lost their job. They wanted to do something to help the community. They felt it would be a positive place for people to relax, work out, and perhaps even network for their next steps in life. We are proud of him. So many people are cutting back or getting cut back. Some are insisting on setting aside a little something for a little moment of joy in life these days. That story tonight from NBC's Rahema Ellis.
Coping with tough times, try that one on. The jittery consumer is still in the market for something indulgent, just on a smaller scale. For some, it means a little bit of color.
If you've got like a new lipstick or like a new shirt or something, like you feel a little better.
One reason MAC Cosmetics reports lipstick sales remain strong.
Solid dark.
Chocolate sales are also doing fine in this recession. At Godiva, the biggest sellers are the smallest pieces, 1 or 2 at a time.
You know, no matter what's going on, you still gotta have chocolate.
One woman calls it her comfort food.
Chocolate. It has a little bit of extra excitement than mashed potatoes.
McDonald's is still a bargain for many. Sales were up more than 8% last month. Movie ticket sales were also up 17% at the start of the year. No real surprise, since escaping to the movies in tough times is practically an American tradition. During the Depression, people who literally couldn't spare a dime found some pennies to watch Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire. Now, a modern addition to the movie business is also cashing in. DVD sales are climbing. Netflix rentals are up 26%. And watching the tube isn't the only thing keeping Americans at home. Industry-wide, video games are as popular as ever, with a 12.5% increase over this time last year. Oh, the question now, will these downsized pleasures last?
People will continue to have these small indulgences that make them feel good, but I do think that people will be more conservative coming out of this.
Americans adjusting their tastes to pleasures they can afford. Rahema Ellis, NBC News, New York.
We are still asking for and still getting your stories of good news in this bad economy, the good things people are doing for each other. You can send yours to our website. This one is a lot like a story we did in Denver recently. Came to us from Jason in Oak Park, Michigan. He writes, I would like to nominate Matt Rafferty, owner of the Whistle Stop Restaurant and Bakery in Birmingham, Michigan. He's giving back to the community he serves by doing a Name Your Price for Dinner week. Pay what you can. We haven't had it easy in Michigan this past year or so. What Matt is doing could be risky for his business, but he wants to give back to the community. People are responding to where there's a great need. Right now, the volunteer effort to hold back the waters of the Red River in the upper Midwest is enough to restore your faith in humanity. They are making a difference, and NBC's Kevin Tibbles has our story tonight from Fargo, North Dakota.
Adding insult to injury, today it snowed. And yet to Fargo and other points Midwest, they came by the thousands. Jesse Fritchman, a student teacher from Duluth, Minnesota, drove here, sandbagging on his spring break.
There's 200 people standing here. They all need help. And they're all friendly, and they're all, just here to help each other. I don't think anyone knows who lives here. They're all just here to help.
Cities and towns throughout the Midwest are now also facing a welcome flood of volunteers. Today in Fargo alone, 5,000.
Oh, it's overwhelming. I mean, we had people from probably 250 miles away, unknown to me at all, and they just came and asked what they could do.
Websites like Craigslist are being used to round up workers. Jerry Pilkington, 5 hours away in Minneapolis, St. Paul, put the call out on Facebook, took a day off work, and headed south.
It took about 15 minutes, and I had a bunch of people volunteer, and so here we are.
Lori Mackery joined the caravan from the Twin Cities.
I've always wanted to help out, and when people need help.
It's a no-brainer. You're in the car.
That's right. You got it.
Unless it's me that needs help.
A huge garbage disposal warehouse is now dubbed Sandbag Central. It's here that 24-year-old Kristen Sanchez has come from Iowa. She grew up in Fargo and followed the volunteer efforts on Twitter.
It was about knowing that my city needed something, someplace that I love, that I've called home for how many years. I needed to be here.
So many volunteers. Organizers say they expected nothing less.
We're from the Midwest. We work hard, we play hard. We've worked hard this week, and we're going to get it done.
And getting it done is an army of regular folks with strong arms and big hearts. Kevin Tibbles, NBC News, Fargo.
As we continue to ask for and receive stories from our viewers on the acts of kindness that are going on in this bad economy right now, tonight we have an email from Molly in Jefferson, Maine, who writes, in times of economic crisis and rising fuel prices, there's one local family-run business in Maine that's making things a little easier for their customers. Owner Don Blanchard of Blanchard Fuel has canceled oil contracts with his customers that were locked in at a high rate so that they may benefit from lower fuel prices. This was a huge sacrifice for him and his company, as they actually lost close to $40,000. Don is a caring businessman who's doing his part to make life easier for customers. Tonight we have another story sent in from one of our viewers, also from New England, about a woman performing a badly needed service and making a difference in the lives of her grateful customers. Her story tonight from NBC's Amy Robach.
Here we go. Today is another day.
This isn't just any day. This is Joyce Delianis' day off, but she's back on the job to help those who have lost theirs.
There's a lot of competition out there right now, so I've been told many times they get hundreds of resumes.
It was something Joyce was hearing from a number of her clients.
I said, don't worry about it. When you need your hair done, you come and do your hair as planned. You don't have to pay me.
Joyce's cuts usually cost $70.
So I decided to give my time so they can save money. So time is money. I give my time, they save money.
And word spread quickly.
Joyce's clients are helping their unemployed friends by handing out these complimentary coupons so that when they come into the salon, they don't have to pay. No questions are asked other than when they want their next appointment.
Did you want to do 10:30 or 11:30?
Can I do it later in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Because I might have a job by then.
Meenal Seigel, a software engineer, has been looking for work for 6 weeks now.
You're laid off, you're just sitting at home looking for jobs and, getting depressed or driving yourself crazy, it's just a great way to just get out.
Debbie Behrens, an executive assistant, was laid off 6 months ago.
This is great. I'm so excited with my new hairdo. It really makes you feel good.
And that good feeling has a ripple effect.
And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Joyce's day off tips have gone straight to the local food pantry, and clients have been moved to give money in Joyce's name.
Every donation that comes in is important, whether it's $5 or $500, because we're buying for about 400 people.
Cutting off one expense and inspiring others to pay it forward.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Amy Robach, NBC News, Burlington, Massachusetts.
Tonight we end another week of Making a Difference reports. Many of you are still doing what we ask, sending us the stories you've encountered where you live, stories about the folks doing good things for others in this economic downturn. We got this email from Julie in Colorado. During these tough financial times, there are still a lot of generous people out there. My sister-in-law is pregnant with spontaneous triplets, no fertility drugs, and she will have to leave her job as a nurse. For a going-away present, her coworkers donated 96 hours of their own paid time off and gave it to her. Every penny is tough to part with these days, and for those coworkers to donate their own paid time off is an act of generosity that makes me want to be a better person. Americans are awesome people. Well, tonight we closed the broadcast in a great corner of America, Baltimore, Maryland, and a father and son team who call themselves socially conscious developers, turning an eyesore into a blessing for a lot of folks and making a huge difference for that city. Our report from NBC's Mike Taibbi.
Donald and Thibault Mannequin are father and son builders who saw the same things in Baltimore's long vacant Miller Tin Can building.
Sitting there getting beaten up and broken glass falling out.
It looked like a war zone,
But they also saw in that scarred 135-year-old building a question they were ready to answer.
Can we play some small role in as real estate developers to bring out the best in the building and the people that occupy it and the community as a whole?
They got some tax breaks and real input from all quarters to turn this into this. 40 low-cost apartments for teachers as low as $700 a month, and inexpensive office space for 24 educational nonprofits.
They actually reached out to the community and didn't just speak to them, but actually listen to them.
They believed in the project, and we believe in them. We just like them.
For every bedroom, there's a bath.
Donald's loyalty to teachers came from actually running the city's school system for a few years.
Where are you teaching?
I'm at Lamel.
Oh, yeah, Lamel Middle School.
And teachers call up and they ask for which apartments are available.
And with Thibault on board, Miller's Court became reality.
At the end of the day, everybody's going to be high-fiving each other walking by the building.
The finish line is just weeks away and will include common workspaces and a coffee shop, even an outdoor fire pit and bocce ball court.
You know the old cliche that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is? Well, it doesn't apply in this case. The story is true, and it seems to be very good for everyone involved.
Teachers like Nick and Kate DeCoster can't wait to move in.
I like that it was around kind of a common mission. It was just to provide something good for a lot of people who are doing a lot for the city.
And the Mannequin father and son team, in business to do well,
It's supposed to break even when we open our doors,
are also, by all accounts, doing good. Mike Taibbi, NBC News, Baltimore.
And now making a difference. Tonight, an act of bravery and proof it's never too late to say thank you. 40 years ago, a firefighter in Boston rescued an infant and touched hearts across the country. The little girl is all grown up now with a family of her own and finally got a chance to meet and thank the man who made the biggest difference in her life. NBC's Ann Thompson has our story.
These days, you can't blame Evangeline Anderson for making a joyful noise. The 40-year-old Boston woman is a daughter, sister, and mother of 6. A full life, but until recently, incomplete.
I just still felt there was something missing that I need to put closure to my life.
Her only clue to what was missing, a newspaper picture saved and described to a teenage Evangeline by her adopted mother.
She explained, "This is you as a baby, and this is the fireman, Mr. Carroll, and he's breathing life into you. So I said, how do I find this man?
40 years ago, an apartment building stood on this corner. It was home to Evangeline and her family until a fire erupted, trapping Evangeline, then just 4 months old, and her brother. Bill Carroll and the firemen from Engine House 3 responded.
I saw Evangeline. She was out like a light. Her little arms thrown back, you know. I kept saying, come on, baby, come on. Now, she wakes up, she starts crying. I said, oh, good, I got her now.
A Boston Globe photographer captured Bill's frantic efforts. The pictures ran on the Globe's front page and around the world. Looking at those images today, you might see only an act of bravery. But back in 1968, Boston, indeed America, was a much different place. Only months before, the assassination of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. ignited riots and unrest in cities across the country. In Boston, there were marches. Back in 1968, did white Irish Catholic guys from Southie mix with African-American people from Roxbury?
No. I'm going to be completely honest with you, no.
For 2 decades, Evangeline searched unsuccessfully for Bill until she met Boston Globe reporter Maria Kramer at a community meeting.
She approached me and said, can you please help me find this firefighter? His name is Carroll, Bill Carroll.
Maria brought them together last month.
You've grown a lot since the last time I saw you.
I am. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm 40.
Their reunion made front page news and set a record of more than 1.5 million hits on the Globe's webpage.
When you have a story that's just very simply about a woman not forgetting for decades about a man she never met and just wanting to say thank you, it touches people in a way that I think is really visceral.
Bill has a new friend.
I have come bearing gifts.
And Evangeline's search is over.
Hi, honey.
I felt like that last piece was putting together. Now I feel whole.
The chance to say thank you for a life saved and now complete. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Boston.
Making a difference. Brought to you by Vesicare.
We are back, and it's time for tonight's Making a Difference report. We received an email from a viewer this week saying that where she lives in Maine, she swears more people are paying it forward these days, helping others in this bad economy because of the stories we've been airing, stories, of course, that you have sent to us. Tonight's story, however, is a bit different, though it's still about acts of kindness. This story came about as a result of a great loss, the death of a U.S. Marine sergeant in Afghanistan. His wife invited our NBC News cameras to his military burial with full military honors to see what loss is like and how it can tear families apart and how sometimes it brings out the very best in people. Our Making a Difference report tonight comes from Montana and NBC's Chris Jansing.
This was not the life Nicole Johnson saw for herself at 24. A widow of the war in Afghanistan with 2 young children.
My world stopped when I found out my husband was gone.
Sergeant Trevor Johnson's dream was to see his children graduate from college. Nicole felt a tremendous burden. How would she provide the life for Landon and Aspen that she and Trevor had planned? 2 businessmen with ties to Trevor's home state of Montana were about to answer her prayers.
We assumed, like many people, that if one of our soldiers is killed in the line of duty, that the family that's left behind would be taken care of financially by the government. And it's clear that that's not the case.
So David Bell and John McCarrick started raising money. They enlisted the support of the University of Montana and founded Grateful Nation.
Montana's military has one of the highest fatality rates in Iraq and Afghanistan of any state. Grateful Nation aims to give the children of those fallen soldiers not just the money for college, but the tools they need to succeed there.
This building right over here.
That's why 16-year-old high school junior Dylan Highland is on campus regularly, getting tours, sitting in on classes, meeting with professors and a mentor. It's what Dylan's dad, First Lieutenant Joshua Highland, would have wanted.
Oh my gosh, that was his dream. Yeah.
For Dylan to go to school.
Yeah, that's all, you know. It was preparing Dylan for college.
All the Grateful Nation families, even with children as young as the Johnsons, get invited to campus to give them a sense of familiarity and belonging.
I always said it's dark and it's cold in this world, Trevor. People are not as good as you think they are. And he goes, yeah, they are. So I think he's up there telling me, I told you so.
Making sure the children of men and women who died for the American dream are able to realize it. Chris Jansing, NBC News, Missoula, Montana.
Two great viewer mails for you tonight. The first from Colleen in Westerville, Ohio, who writes, a local man who owns a daycare facility here in Columbus is offering free child care to parents who are searching for jobs and while they are on job interviews. I know parents are having a hard time after a job loss if they cannot afford child care and have little ones at home. And Penny in Newhall, Iowa writes, Jim Anderson, owner of Anderson Automotive in Marion, Iowa, is trying to make a difference in eastern Iowa that will spread to other communities across the country. Jim, with the help of a couple other small businesses, is offering a car to a deserving family for $1. Folks were asked to nominate someone who has made a difference in eastern Iowa but may have fallen on hard times themselves. Jim has contacted other friends in the auto industry across the country about the promotion, and a few have begun to offer similar promotions in other areas. The goal is to get the word out so that others can pay it forward as well. Keep the good news coming to us, and we'll keep putting the stories on the air. You can post your own stories of acts of kindness at nightly.msnbc.com.